upon a time there was truth in journalism, where brave men and women gave voice to the voiceless. But then the corporations bought the journalist, poisoning the news that we are fed. With those tainted sources, all we ever ate was a steady diet of status quo. This hijacked narrative hid the truth of mass suffering, injustice and corruption throughout our land. Status quo, status quo, status quo, status quo. To expose this shift to oligarchy came a band of honest journalists. They left the studio and hit the streets to give the microphone back to the people. From sea to sea, the people were empowered to share their truth. Their voices no longer stifled, reclaimed their power. Join the media revolution now.
I did it again, guys. I'm really sorry. So let me start again from the top. Sorry about the no audio. I can't believe I did that again. So major breaking news. It broke a couple of hours ago. The New York Attorney General, Letitia James, has filed a lawsuit to dissolve the National Rifle Association for years of self-dealing and illegal conduct. The NRA, of course, is an incredibly powerful group. They lobby and tend to get what they want. They are a major part of the reason why Donald Trump won in 2016. They are, as I'll show you from one of their Dana Lash ads, they consistently put out dangerous, disgusting rhetoric that divides this country, that fuels up the people who are, who live their lives around the Second Amendment. Think what you want about the Second Amendment. Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. A lot of progressives are very much in support of the Second Amendment. But the NRA and the Second Amendment, in a lot of people's minds, on the right in particular, has become one. They think that the New York Attorney General doing this and the attacks from the left on the NRA are part of getting their Second Amendment rights dissolved. And they don't realize that the NRA is not synonymous with the Second Amendment. They have just become such a powerful force that a lot of people take it that way. So let me check on you guys in the chat. I apologize again. I cannot believe that I was muted. So sorry. So guys, it really Reese Mack says Jenny Spears. Oops, I did it again. That's cute. So sorry, guys. So love your comments. So smash the like button, because YouTube, of course, wants to hide us under a bushel, doesn't want us to be seen. They're definitely not showing us in people's feeds. So if more of you smash the like button, YouTube will start to show us more, and more people will start to trickle in. So smash the like button. You can also share this stream, and please do, on all of your social media channels, your Twitter. You can share it on Facebook, on Reddit, everywhere and anywhere you are. Instagram. The sky's the limit. Email all your friends. Do whatever you can to bring more eyes to the coup. And if you're new here, please subscribe to this channel. We have a goal, an early goal. We definitely want as many subscribers as possible, but right now the goal we're focusing on is to reach 100,000 subscribers for Status Coup, which it's a story for another day, but we should have reached that a long time ago if YouTube weren't suppressing us. So smash it. Also, a lot of you are already on our text list, so probably the way you found this stream was because I sent out a mass text to everyone on the list. You can't rely on YouTube to notify you. They tend to not send out notifications when we're live or when we update new videos. So right now, take out your phone. It'll just take a second and text COUP to 370-370 so you get all of the upcoming text that we will send out when we're live. Oh my goodness, the super chats are coming in already, and super chats are so helpful. So if you're able to leave one today, leaving a comment or a question or whatever you want, a super chat sticker, they are all very welcome. They go a long way towards keeping our reporting going, and they make me smile. I love super chats. So I don't know how to pronounce this. Exakana 1626, $10 in the super chat. Love status quo and love supporting independent media. Thank you so much. That's really sweet of you. JK says, Jen, you're funny. Well, I guess I'll take funny over ditzy. That's the third time I did this week. You guys are real sports. I'm so sorry. Anne-Marie Cunningham, $4.99 in the super chat. The NSA were the only ones who could hear you. Yeah, that's probably true. You know, along with the CIA, the FBI. I do have my cell phone here after all, so no doubt they could hear me. So keep those super chats coming. And Gracie Allen says we're showing more subscribers. Yeah, due to, we've been growing because of our live streams and our videos and stuff. But one of the major reasons, and we can't really figure it out, is every once in a while, YouTube likes to show this video Jordan did last year of an interview with a Trump supporter when he was down in Miami for the debates. And that video now has over 1 million views, and it tends to get us a lot of subscribers. So we're not complaining about that, but we definitely want to grab subscribers wherever we can so our channel can keep on growing. Okay, so I will dive into the news now. Maybe this is breaking to you, maybe you've already heard it, but I told Jordan right before I went live, I have about 1,000 tabs open on my computer here because I have a lot of things to say and a lot of angles that go into this revelation from Letitia James, the New York Attorney General today. So let's get to that. Keep smashing the like button, keep leaving super chats. Love you all. Okay, so let's get into this news that it's good news. It makes us feel good. It's hopefully leading in the right direction. Of course, there's going to be a lot of opposition against it, so I'll show you kind of the different sides, the people who are very much in favor of this and the people who are screaming about their 2A. So here is New York Attorney General Letitia James's tweet. Breaking. I filed a lawsuit to dissolve the National Rifle Association for years on self-dealing and illegal conduct. The NRA is fraught with fraud and abuse. No organization is above the law. We are seeking to dissolve the NRA for years of self-dealing and illegal conduct that violate New York's charities laws and undermine its own mission. The NRA diverted millions of dollars away from its charitable mission for personal use by senior leadership. Our lawsuit charges the NRA as a whole and 4 senior leaders, including Wayne LaPierre, with failing to manage the NRA's funds and failing to follow numerous state and federal laws. These actions contributed to the loss of more than $64 million in just 3 years for the NRA. The 4 defendants failed to fulfill their fiduciary duty to the NRA and used millions upon millions from NRA reserves for personal use, including trips for them and their families to the Bahamas and safaris in Africa, private jets, expensive meals, and other private travel. They and board members at the NRA abused their power and illegally diverted or facilitated the diversion of tens of millions of dollars from the NRA. The NRA has failed to carry out its stated mission for many years, and instead operated as a breeding ground for greed and abuse. In New York, we have a set of laws that every individual and entity must be held accountable to, regardless of its size, influence, power, or wealth. No one is above the law, not even the NRA, one of the most powerful organizations in this country. So she has some very strong words, and of course we knew last year that this case had been started, that they were looking into the finances of the NRA, but it's taken us this long due to the depth of this investigation to start to get some results to get this lawsuit filed. So a lot of people are taking a deep sigh of relief today. Next, I'm going to show you something to kind of, not that you need a reminder of how terrible the NRA is, but I think this will kind of freshen up your anger and disgust at the NRA. And specifically, this is Dana Lash, who is just a vile human being and who recorded this ad for the NRA, I believe last year or a year or two ago. So get ready to become renewed in your anger. 1 second, let me make sure I switched the screen correctly. I did, great. Okay. Why can't I play it? Okay, we'll play it little then, if it won't let me play it big.
Media to assassinate real news. They use their schools to teach children that their president is another Hitler. They use their movie stars and singers and comedy shows and award shows to repeat their narrative over and over again. And then they use their ex-president to endorse the resistance, all to make them march, make them protest, make them scream racism and sexism and xenophobia and homophobia, to smash windows, burn cars, shut down interstates and airports, bully and terrorize the law-abiding, until the only option left is for the police to do their jobs and stop the madness. And when that happens, they'll use it as an excuse for their outrage. The only way we stop this, the only way we save our country and our freedom, is to fight this violence of lies with the clenched fist of truth. I'm the National Rifle Association of America, and I'm freedom's safest place.
Oh my goodness. You just...
A failed president. The worst that could...
Stop that. So... that ad tells us a couple of things. First of all, Dana Lash is crazy. Second of all, this ad specifically, it's very, very clear that the NRA is seeking to divide the country. They're pitting, 2A people, gun owners, NRA people who are up to 5 million NRA members in this country, which is a very large number. So you have this side, and in this ad in particular, they are showing you protests and people fighting for their rights. If these people are so into the Constitution, shouldn't they care about our right to protest? To protest our government and misdeeds, you would think, but no, they're totally focused on 2A. So this is meant to divide the country. And if you're reading kind of between the lines, it goes further for a lot of these people too. It's not only a call to arm yourself and to be like really wary of your neighbors, but it's also a call to take up arms against them. That's what a lot of these people believe, and that's what ads and rhetoric like this lead people to believe. And it's really scary and it's really dangerous. So in addition to the NRA's, financial misdeeds, which we'll get more into, we have this really scary propaganda that they put out into our country. And you'll notice, and we'll cover this too, the NRA doesn't seem to care about the gun rights of Black people. They seem to only care about the gun rights of white people. And they certainly, they talk about the fact that you take up arms against a tyrannical government, but they don't seem to be sympathetic at all to the people who are protesting against the government, who are protesting against the police. That's literally the reason why the Second Amendment exists, just in case there's a tyrannical government and tyrannical powers that be. So these people are full of contradictions, they're full of hatred, they're dangerous. We all know that. The Attorney General, so of course she tweeted her statement, but here's a little bit of her statements in video.
Just a few minutes ago, my office filed a lawsuit against the National Rifle Association to dissolve the organization in its entirety for years of self-dealing and illegal conduct that violate New York's charities law and undermine its own mission. The National Rifle Association, or the NRA, is the largest and most influential pro-gun organization in the nation. Since its founding in 1871, the NRA has been a registered not-for-profit charitable corporation in the state of New York. The Attorney General's office has a wide range of regulatory and enforcement powers over charitable corporations and their trustees, including the NRA. The NRA's influence has been so powerful that the organization went unchecked for decades, while top executives funneled millions into their own pockets. For years, the NRA diverted millions and millions of dollars away from its charitable mission for personal use by senior leadership, to award contracts to the financial gain of close associates and family, and appeared to dole out lucrative no-show contracts to former employees in order to buy their silence and continued loyalty. This lawsuit specifically charges the NRA as a whole, in addition to 4 individual defendants. 1, the first individual, longtime Executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre, who has been the face of the NRA for decades. 2, former Treasurer and Chief Financial Officer Wilson Woody Phillips. 3, former Chief of Staff and the Executive Director of Operations Joshua Powell. And 4, Corporate Secretary and General Counsel John Frazier. These individuals in the NRA are charged with failing to manage the NRA's funds and failing to follow numerous state and federal laws, which contributed to the loss of more than $64 million in just 3 years. Since its founding in 1871, the NRA has been a registered not-for-profit charitable corporation in the state of New York. And these organizations are required by law to register and file annual financial reports with the Office of the New York State Attorney General, and the assets of such an organization are legally required to be used in a way that serves the interest of NRA membership and that advance the organization's charitable mission. However, as today's complaints lays out, we found that the NRA instead fostered a culture of non-compliance and disregard for internal controls that led to the waste and loss of millions in assets and contributed to the NRA's current deteriorated financial state.
Okay, so that actually goes on for a bit longer. You can, I'll find the full presser that she did and put that in the description later on. But you get the idea. She clearly lays out her case and the misdeeds that the NRA has allegedly committed. So bravo to her. Bravo to the team that investigated this. It's really, really good news and heading in the right direction. I want to address someone who I saw in the chat. I've lost it now. But who said Jen and others should be more tolerant of gun owners. So I want to say, you know, everyone can have differences of opinion when it comes to guns. I'm not, my in-laws own guns. My father-in-law goes hunting, for example. That's fine. And he actually, decades ago, was a member of the NRA, and then they became insane, even more insane. So he dropped his membership, and he's, he believes in background checks, and he believes in more licensing and closing the loopholes and things like that. So my husband grew up around guns. They were taught like gun safety. He and his brother were taught gun safety at an early age. So to me, it's not, I'm not 100% anti-gun. People need to go hunting. I understand in certain cases people, this is controversial. I don't even know if I still believe this, but I can see why other people think this, that having a gun in your home feels safer. Like, the statistics don't actually bear that out, but I understand the feeling. So it's not that I'm anti-gun or anti-gun owner across the board, but when you look at our school shootings, which I'll show you, it's way down in my tab list, but I'll show you the statistics on school shootings. And at the very least, I think we can all agree that weapons of war don't need to be in the hands of an Adam Lanza. Don't need to be in the hands of the in the case of the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas school. Like, all of these cases, all of these shootings tend to have, weapons of war as a mainstay. So there needs to be they need to go. None of us need that. You don't need to shoot a deer with I know assault rifle isn't the right term, but I'm going to say it, with an assault rifle. I can't remember what AR actually stands for. So I think there are places where people can agree and that there can be better gun rights organizations out there. The NRA is so corrupt, and it's baffling to me how so many gun owners who are members of the NRA or are supporters of the NRA don't see that. They're conflating Second Amendment rights, being a gun owner, with NRA being like, they worship it, a lot of these people. So I just wanted to address that comment. I saw a super chat. I'm going to look at it on my phone. Kip Winter, $15 in the super chat. Thank you so much. Saying that woman is a true patriot, very brave as well. Yeah, I think that's a really good point, Kip. It does take bravery to go up against a group that's this big and this powerful. I'm certain she'll get threats, and I'm very hopeful that they are keeping her safe, and others who've worked on this safe, because going up a corrupt guns rights organization is certainly dangerous. So yes, major kudos to Attorney General James, for sure. This is an article that kind of just restates some of the facts. I'm definitely not going to read it all because I think you have got it now between her tweets and her video. So the major points here are that leaders of the organization have been self-dealing, and to the tune of $64 million within 3 years. The leadership is accused of flagging nonprofit of the flag. A lawsuit that accuses the leadership of the flagging nonprofit of diverting millions of dollars for their own personal use. According to the suit, senior leadership of the NRA squandered millions in donations on personal trips, private jets, and expensive meals. The suit argues that the 4 executives, including CEO Wayne LaPierre, shouldn't be permitted to ever again serve on the board of a New York charity. I will pop this link in the chat. There are already several articles out there from various media organizations. And so read wherever you want, but we're going to get into some very interesting aspects of this. Before we do, and I definitely want to show you what Donald Trump has said right after he learned about this. It is, of course, ridiculous. Here is the NRA's response. NRA president responds to New York Attorney General. This was a baseless, premeditated attack on our organization and the Second Amendment freedoms it fights to defend. See there, they're already starting with the Second Amendment. They're already propagandizing this. When their supporters see this, their brain is going to go there too. Okay, they're going to think, okay, this isn't an attack on just the NRA. This is an attack on all of us. This is an attack on our Second Amendment rights. That's what the NRA does. They are incredibly good at brainwashing, gaslighting, and propaganda. I don't understand how it's baffling to me how people don't see through this, but on the other hand, their tactics are so good. Their tactics are really powerful. So they really have people under their spell. Their second tweet, we move into the 2020, You could have set your watch by it. The investigation was going to reach its crescendo as we move into the 2020 election cycle. It's a transparent attempt to score political points and attack the leading voice in opposition to the leftist agenda. This has been a power grab by a political opportunist, a desperate move that is part of a rank political vendetta. Our members won't be intimidated or bullied in their defense of political and constitutional freedom. As evidenced by the lawsuit filed by the NRA today against the New York Attorney General, we not only will shrink from this fight, we will confront it and prevail. There's a lot to this, and this statement was, of course, incredibly thought out. They definitely put their spin on things and presented this in a very particular way. So we've already talked about the fact that they are immediately putting Second Amendment, that 2A, right there, kind of in the headline at the start of that tweet. They also call it a baseless, premeditated attack. Well, this investigation has been going on for quite some time now, so what they're saying is the investigation results, the fact that the lawsuit was in fact filed, is political, that it's for political gain. And maybe that's true. I don't have evidence for or against that, but the facts don't change. So they are they're diverting their audience's attention away from the misdeeds that the Attorney General has found, away from the fact that, the NRA is taking people's money. They're purporting to be a charitable organization. And instead, the leaders are giving themselves fancy trips. Why don't they get upset about that? It's because of the way the NRA is presenting this and spinning this. All people will see are the words leftist, Second Amendment, premeditated attack, and fighting against getting Donald Trump back in office. That's what they'll see from the opposition. Their attention is completely diverted away from the fact that $64 million was misappropriated and used by the leadership. The NRA needs to be dismantled for sure, but I also think there's a lot to be gained from a study of their propaganda techniques throughout their time, and especially in the later years, where originally they did have some good ideas. Originally, and I'm talking decades and decades and decades ago, originally they were for gun control, but then certain people got in power and turned it into something else, turned it into this dangerous, disgusting organization. And I don't see how any gun owner can support this. Look to a different gun rights organization. The NRA is corrupt. They're stealing your money and using it to benefit themselves. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. So let me check in on, keep the super chats coming. Looking at the chat here. Yay, another super chat. So $15 in the super chat from Auntie Anne. The NRA used to do a lot of good training for kids and adults in the 70s. Police generally don't kill unarmed people. School shootings didn't happen. Corporations weren't people, then came Reagan. Exactly, Annie Ann. That's exactly it. they did have good programs and good ideas, and they did do good, valid things. And yeah, it was around the Reagan era where things took a turn for the worse, and it's only gotten worse from there. Definitely disturbing. So, oh my gosh, guys, this next video is not going to be a surprise to you, but it's absolutely batshit crazy. Of course, I'm talking about Donald Trump's response to this. Buckle up, this is wild.
I just heard about the general who needs to dissolve the NRA. I just heard about that. That's a very terrible thing that just happened. I think the NRA should move to Texas and lead a very good and beautiful life. And I've told them that for a long time. I think they should move to Texas. Texas would be a great place, or to another state of their choosing. But I would say that Texas would be a great place and an appropriate place for the NRA.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Dissolve the NRA.
What is there to even say about that? He's saying, you know, they're great, they should just move to Texas, as if it's like some person that can just easily move to Texas to get away from the bad leftists in New York. It's a non-response, and clearly Trump had just heard about it. And interestingly, while the NRA financially supported him with a heck of a lot of money in 2016, the support hasn't been financially as great for Trump this time around. So that's an interesting dynamic to look out for too, whether or not the NRA is happy with Donald Trump. You know, they didn't like the bump stock bans, for example, but just Trump telling them to, just go to Texas. What? It doesn't make any sense. This isn't leadership. So I just had to play that because it's just utterly ridiculous. Keep smashing the like button. The more you smash the like button, the more people will see this. Also, keep those super chats coming. They help us so much. Any amount helps. Leave your comments, your questions, super chat stickers, anything. Love these super chats. Okay, so Newsweek is putting up this bar at the bottom. But next I want to point out that the vast majority of Americans are more in favor of Black Lives Matter than the NRA, and that happens to be true in Texas. So Trump's idea for the NRA to just pack up and go to Texas might not be such a great idea. People are starting to catch on. A new poll, and this was in, what year was this? Yep, so this was last month, middle of last month. A new poll in Texas suggests that the Black Lives Matter movement is more popular than the National Rifle Association in the gun-loving Lone Star State. Black Lives Matter was supported by 43% of Texas voters and opposed by 34%, according to a poll released Sunday by the Dallas Morning News and the University of Texas at Tyler. The NRA received a 35% favorability rating, while 34% viewed the group unfavorably. Whereas the results might suggest a shift, partisan divisions existed on both issues. Republicans held a clearly negative view of Black Lives Matter, with 60% viewing it unfavorably compared to 17% favorable. Likewise, a 59% majority of Democrats viewed the NRA unfavorably, with only 12% favorable. And some were neutral on the issue. The polling company Civics reports that the national support for Black Lives Matter has increased significantly over the last 2 years. According to polls, most Americans now support the movement in wake of mass protests against racial injustice following the May 25th death of George Floyd. And to continue on that note, let's talk more about the hypocrisy of the NRA, especially in light of the protests. So this is out of Mother Jones. The NRA has spent decades warning about police crackdowns. Now it's utterly silent. In many ways, the past couple of weeks have been exactly what the National Rifle Association has for years warned its members about: a mass mobilization of militarized police and unknown federal agents in cities across the country to shut down largely peaceful mass demonstrations of people exercising their constitutional rights, and doing so with force. In Washington, D.C., for example, the President of the United States had law enforcement fire tear gas and rubber bullets at peaceful protesters for a photo op. That was the one in front of St. John's Church in D.C. In Buffalo, police in riot gear shoved an unarmed 75-year-old man to the ground, sending him to the hospital bleeding from the ears. In Minneapolis, where the protests started after a white police officer killed 46-year-old George Floyd on May 25th, there have been too many instances to count of police violently attacking peaceful protesters and slashing people's tires. Surely these actions by law enforcement officers are what NRA head Wayne LaPierre warned about when he wrote in a 1995 fundraising letter that a recently signed assault weapons ban would give jackbooted government thugs more power to take away our constitutional rights, break in our doors, destroy our property, and even injure or kill us. After all, that was the NRA's biggest fear during the Obama administration, when the group turned the former president into a liberal boogeyman, incessantly fundraising on the notion that his administration would ban all firearms. And even before that, the group capitalized off the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, making misleading claims that the New Orleans mayor had declared martial law and that police were disarming law-abiding gun owners to help crack down on looters. So surely the nation's oldest gun rights organization, which has a sordid history of stoking fear among its base that big government is going to come away and take away rights, would have a lot to say about these current instances of police crackdowns on peaceful protesters, right? Of course not. At a moment that seems ripe for the NRA to push government fears to highlight its agenda, the organization has been utterly silent. Since May 25th, the day that Floyd was killed by Derek Chauvin, the NRA's main Twitter account has tweeted about 30 times, though not a single tweet has specifically mentioned Floyd's murder, the subsequent nationwide protests, nor the law enforcement response. At best, the group has tweeted vague messages about its commitment to the Second Amendment, writing on June 1st that a well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, of course, the NRA is just attacking Joe Biden and going about their business. But they actually don't care at all. You know, there's more of the article. I'll pop it in the super chat. But clearly, the NRA doesn't actually care about what they purport to care about. All they care about is raising money, is fear-mongering, is propagandizing the mission, their mission, the Second Amendment, and convincing and tricking gun owners to believe their rhetoric. That's what the NRA exists for. It all comes down to money. It all comes down to their mass influence over our politicians on the right and sometimes on the left as well. And they don't care about Black lives. They don't care that Trump had police and federal agents clear a spot of protesters so he could take a picture holding a Bible upside down in front of a church. That they used tear gas and violence. They attacked members of the media. They attacked more Black lives. They don't care about any of that. And so that should show you that they don't care about a tyrannical government as long as it's impacting people on the left, impacting Black lives. They only care if it impacts them. So you would think that people would see right through them. Okay, so you support the Second Amendment. Why aren't you supporting it in the case of Black people owning a gun, or Black people being attacked by the government and by police? It's because they don't believe what they're saying. They only care about themselves. The power has gone to their head. As we talked about earlier, they used to do some good things. At least they weren't as corrupt as they are right now. And with money and power, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse until we see what has led to the lawsuit by the AG today. So, very, very disturbing, not surprising at all. Not surprising at all that they don't care about these protests. They don't care about Black lives. They were just never going to. They only care about extreme right-wing people and gun owners that buy into their propaganda. Let me check in on you guys in the chat. I see some super chats. It always takes me forever to scroll through this. Smash the like button if you haven't already, and leave super chats. They really help our reporting. They help us do investigations, and they help us go out into the field, which is our main thing. I also want to, hold on, let me find this super chat. Kip Winter again, $5 in the super chat. See Lucia K. McBath, Georgia, the Armor of Light official trailer. Kip, can you email me that? Because I will forget. info@statuscoup.com. I will check that out. And before I continue, I also want to show you, if you haven't seen yet, we have Status Coup masks now. They are awesome. They come in a variety of colors, very cool colors. And we have t-shirts and beach towels and wall tapestries and posters and stickers and phone covers and pillows and all sorts of things. Anything you could possibly want. Plus, if you go there, you should get this pop-up that gives you 10% off if you sign up for their texts. So definitely check this out. We get about half of the money from each sale. You know, Teespring, of course, takes the rest for manufacturing and because they're Teespring. but it definitely helps our reporting. So grab a mask and grab one for your whole family. Here are all the colors it comes in. I also want to urge you, if you haven't already, please go to statuscoup.com/join. If you join as a member for as low as $5 a month, you'll get incredible bonuses such as behind the scenes video diaries, behind the scenes reporting, behind the scenes photos, and people's favorite thing about being a member is our monthly member calls. So Jordan and I get on the phone with you, or on a Zoom call with you. You can join via phone if you want to. You can join via your Zoom app on your computer or the browser, whatever. You can ask us your most burning questions. We all get to chat together. You can be on video or not. You can. There's a chat box so you can connect with us and fellow Status Coup members. It's a really great time, and it's a more intimate, close setting than the super chats here on YouTube. And it's really a lot of fun. And so we answer all of your questions, whatever questions you have. Some cases, depending on what you ask, we might say, oh, we're not going to touch that. But more often than not, we answer way too much. We get into way too much detail. We spill the beans. We give you the true behind the scenes. So definitely consider joining Status Coup as a member. Again, it's just $5 a month, or you can choose other tiers. Also, we've had some great Status Coup members offer to sponsor memberships for other people. There are a lot of people who are struggling financially due to COVID, job loss, things like that. So, straightforward, we've lost a lot of members, and about 200. So we were close to 2,000 members, and we're trying to get back there. So if you can sponsor other people, that would be a really great thing, because we get emails all the time of people who want to join but just are not financially able to. So if you can swing covering $5 for one person, or 2 people, or 5 people, or 10 people, or 100 people, whatever is financially okay for you, you would be making people's day. You would be helping Status Coup to grow, and really, really giving back to independent media and to people who want to be part of the membership action but just can't. So if you are able to, then be a hero. Email us at info@statuscoup.com and just let me know that you want to sponsor people and how many people you want to sponsor, and I will set that up. So we love all of our members. We love all of our viewers. Membership is what keeps, it's our lifeblood. It's what keeps status quo going. So let's get back to the good old NRA. So this is just, I'm going to show you a couple different tabs where we talk about the NRA's influence. So they have a lot of influence financially, of course. Their lobbying, arm is just incredibly powerful. So this is Carrie Levine, and she works for Public Integrity. Hard to overstate the NRA's influence over the years from Public Integrity Archives. The NRA pushed stand your ground laws around the country in 2012. It spent $30 million boosting Trump in 2016. And Carrie points out, so far this election cycle, the NRA has spent far less, not even $1 million, per the Open Secrets DC tally here. So that's one of the things I pointed out earlier, is that I think it's really interesting that they definitely have not financially supported Trump, as not anywhere near as much as they did in 2016. So I'd like to know the reason for that for sure. And this is Anna Massaglia, and she works for Open Secrets. Yeah. So this is part of what New York Attorney General Letitia James was talking about, is the fact that the National Rifle Association misused funds to the tune of $64 million. And this is a particular instance where they misused a heck of a lot of money to go on a safari. So Anna says, some tidbits on National Rifle Association influence since New York Attorney General Letitia James moved to dissolve the gun rights group. FOIA records obtained by @Crew recently revealed a NRA auctioned Mongolia safari where Donald Trump Jr. shot endangered sheep and cost taxpayers over $76,000. Ugh. This family. The NRA. Unbelievable what these people get away with. So let's talk more about 2016 and the influence they had. In North Carolina, so this was written in 2016, so none of it's going to be up to date. It is strictly about 2016, just to make that clear. In North Carolina, the NRA spent $6.2 million on the incumbent Republican Senator Richard Burr. The National Rifle Association took a historic gamble in 2016, and it paid off in a huge way. The gun rights group placed multi-million-dollar bets on Donald Trump and 6 Republican Senate candidates locked in highly competitive races. It poured $50.2 million, or 96% of its total outside spending, into these races and lost only one. The NRA's big night came as a tidal wave of white voters without college degrees voted overwhelmingly for Trump, leading to one of the biggest election night upsets in memory. The reasons why this demographic turned out in such high numbers for the GOP nominee will be parsed for years, which ended up being very, very true. Probably will be parsed for the rest of time. And it is not at all clear how much of a factor his embrace of the NRA's hardline position on gun rights played into the outcome. But the NRA's investment, which was more than any other outside group, paid for a slew of ads that directly targeted the same voters who propelled Trump to victory. The organization's radio and television spots sought to cast Hillary Clinton and the Democratic rivals of its preferred Senate candidates as an existential threat to the Second Amendment and national security. It is a message that resonates in the gun belt, a swath of primarily southern and midwestern states where Trump achieved some of his most consequential victories. In October alone, according to the Center for Public Integrity, roughly 1 out of every 20 television ads in Pennsylvania was sponsored by the NRA. That same month, the group paid for 1 in 9 ads in North Carolina and 1 of every 8 in Ohio. The ads imply that Clinton and Democrats would leave law and order abiding citizens defenseless. In one spot, a woman is alone in bed when a burglar breaks into her home. The narrator intones, "Don't let Hillary leave you protected with nothing but a phone." Trump won all 3 states, and the NRA's preferred Senate candidates also swept to victory. So again, the NRA's largest 2016 outlay was the $30.3 million it spent in support of Trump. So I'll place this article in the chat for you guys. 2016 is, obviously it was a very strange year, and it was a surprise. It was a massive, massive upset. We all thought Hillary Clinton was going to win. And we have to wonder, did the NRA influence the election enough that it helped push Donald Trump to victory? We know at least it helped in certain states. We'd have to do a real study on it to figure out exactly what kind of influence it had. But it at least endeared Donald Trump to a lot of NRA members, to a lot of gun owners, and it made him, Donald Trump, synonymous with being the Second Amendment candidate. So again, I wonder why they haven't done anywhere close to that this year. And part of that might have something to do with this. I don't know, but they might not be. Actually, this is a different article than I was thinking about. I was talking about bump stock bans and certain members not feeling like Donald Trump was doing enough for them. Like, they had such great hopes for him, and the NRA had built him up so much that they had massive disappointment in certain cases, in certain extreme cases, most likely, where they just, every step Donald Trump made related to guns was very deeply scrutinized, and not in all cases did they agree with Trump. So I wonder if on the NRA's part, if it's yet another power move. Like, okay, Trump, we gave you over $30 million in 2016, but you haven't exactly towed the line, so we're not going to do that this year. And now it seems like they aren't going to be able to continue doing that if hopefully the NRA does get dissolved in New York. So what this article actually is talking about Trump trying to toe the line, going a long way towards focusing on gun owners and the NRA. So this is again out of Open Secrets. Trump admin deems gun dealers and shooting ranges essential after lobbying push. The Trump administration designated the firearms industry as essential critical infrastructure over the weekend following lobbying and digital ad campaigns by gun rights groups. The guidance lists workers supporting the operation of firearm or ammunition product manufacturers, retailers, importers, distributors, and shooting ranges as essential. The Department of Homeland Security's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency added the firearms industry to the list of essential sectors on Saturday. So this was back in March. That addition allows many gun stores and ammunition dealers to remain open as other businesses shut their doors. The advisory was issued as a guide after several states such as California, New Jersey, and Massachusetts cited a lack of federal directive on what could be deemed as essential businesses. So here they talk about other gun groups and on, but several gun groups, including the National Rifle Association, Second Amendment Foundation, and California Gun Rights Foundation, filed a lawsuit Friday against the state of California for closing down gun retailers as people were asked to stay home. The circumstances posed by the novel coronavirus outbreak are noteworthy, but do not excuse unlawful government infringements upon freedom, the lawsuit read. The guidance was issued as states remain divided over whether to categorize gun retailers as essential businesses while gun sales soared amid the outbreak. So the article, as I said, it continues on. I'll pop it in the chat as usual. But this shows you what lobbying by gun groups, and in particular the NRA, can achieve. So I think we can say with certainty that gun stores are not an essential business in the time of corona. An essential business is a thing like a grocery store, a drugstore, things that are actually essential for life. Guns are not essential for life. Now, I know that a gun owner or an NRA member would and right away fire back at me and say, of course guns are essential for life. They're how we protect ourselves. They're our rights. They give us our freedom. They treat their guns as if they are like a deity. They worship guns. But in the end, they are not essential to a coronavirus lockdown. It doesn't make any sense. The only reason it happened is because of the lobbying power. And this happens over and over and over again. And it has since Reagan. It's, these NRA, of course, gives these ratings to different politicians, and those especially on the right want to get an A rating from the NRA because that's often how they can get elected. There are a lot of right-wingers who have their pet policies, and in a lot of cases, the pet policy is gun rights. So if a politician is not strong enough in their opinion on gun rights, then they won't vote for them, or they won't come out to vote or whatever. But if a politician purports to be on the side of gun rights, on the side of giving in to the NRA and other gun associations, then they're more likely, those people are going to vote for them. So it's really a reason why the NRA is so strong, because politicians rely on them for votes, and the lobbyists essentially buy the politicians' stances. Like, okay, we'll give you this money, but you have to do exactly what we say. And that's, a story for another day about how awful our lobbying system is here in this country. Okay, now I'm gonna check in on you guys in the chat because I saw an amazing super chat from one of my favorite people on the whole planet. Scrolling. Yay! Oh, I saw another one too. Jean Shade, or Shade, I don't know how you pronounce it, let me know. With a super chat sticker, $19.99 in the super chat. Thank you so much, Jean. That's very, very sweet. And Jacqueline DeBlue, 50 pounds in the super chat. Thank you, Jacqueline. As I said, one of my favorite people on the planet. Few topics make me as angry as guns and hunting, and I'm afraid I can't be reasoned on those. Would I be different if I'd grown up in the US? I'll never know. So I thought NRA, no thanks. But then I saw dissolve, so here I am. Hi, Jen. Yeah, it's I'm more on the side now. Like, I don't want to be around guns. I don't want to have anything to do with that world at all. So I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. When I saw NRA and dissolve, just like you, I was like, yep, I'm all in. It's a great, great thing for our country if the NRA is dissolved. And I think that's the case even for Second Amendment and rights people and gun owners. Like, you should be excited about this. They were misusing your money for years and years and years. They were doing it to go on trips. Like, they're stealing from you. Be mad about it. Everyone should be mad about it, not just people on the left. It does. It really fires me up. It makes me angry. Thank you so much, guys. The super chats are invigorating. They help me keep going. Oh, I closed that article. I'll have to find it and pop it in the description. Let's go through some different opinions here. So this is Grant Stern, and I can't remember who he works for. Oh, he's with Occupy Democrats, etc. So he says, I'd like to point out that what the NRA's disgraced executive Vice President Wayne LaPierre said last year, right before news broke that the hashtag NYAG, New York Attorney General, opened an investigation into his group. Quote, without the NRA, there is no Trump. So that goes exactly to what we were talking about before. The NRA is potentially and most likely a big part of the reason why Donald Trump won. They have influence beyond their money. You know, they have this trance-like effect on a lot of gun owners and a lot of Second Amendment people. So what they say goes. They say vote for Trump, then people vote for Trump. So I think that's, it's an ominous quote. Without the NRA, there is no Trump. It is ominous. But it's probably true. It's maybe true. At least he wouldn't be as much of a, he wouldn't have won in certain states perhaps, or he wouldn't have won as handily as he did in certain places. The landscape could look quite different without the NRA's help and without the NRA's boosting. So this is Scott Adams, and he is obviously the Dilbert creator, but he's also kind of a Looney Tune. He has all kinds of like, I don't know, brain things he talks about. He's very right-wing. He's a Trump supporter, and he says he doesn't talk about hypnosis per se, but he talks about like mass hypnosis and topics like that. So I don't know. He's gotten a really, really big right-wing following. The things he says are crazy. But in this case, I think he's probably right. So what Scott Adams tweeted after this information broke about the New York Attorney General's suit, he said, "This will double gun sales." I think that is absolutely true. We already know that when there's a terrible shooting, like the Sandy Hook shooting, which I and many people will never get over, that was one of the scariest days of my life because I had a same-age child. I had a 6-year-old in first grade at the time, and I couldn't go get him. My first instinct after Sandy Hook happened was, I'm gonna go get my kid. But they locked down his school. We're all the way in Maryland. We're not close to Connecticut. But they locked down his school because a threat had been called into his school. So here I am, just horrified by the very thought that so many children were dead, and news was trickling in, and we were learning certain things, and certain information changed. It was a real frenzy. But at the heart of it is someone murdered a lot of children and shot them many, many times. And so I was just horrified. I drove over to his school and just sat in the parking lot until they would finally let us in to get our kids. It was just so scary. And you would think that everyone would have that reaction, kids or not, or left in politics or right in politics. You would think that everyone would be incredibly horrified and just scared and disgusted and ready to be done with guns. But especially weapons of war and Armalite rifles. I think that's what AR stands for. But no, a lot of people ran out and bought more guns. They said, "Oh, Obama's gonna come take our guns. Better go buy them up. Before they do, I'm gonna hoard them. I'm never gonna give them up." So it really translated into a lot more gun sales. And that's a pattern we've seen over and over again when horrific gun incidents happen. They say, "Oh, those liberals are going to come take our guns, so let's buy more." Here it is again. Obviously, we can't predict the future, but based on patterns, yeah, this will increase gun sales. People are probably making plans right now to go buy a gun before they think they won't be able to. Because again, they equate the NRA with guns and with the Second Amendment. They think it's all in one. They think it's the same thing. So I don't think Scott Adams is wrong in this instance. He's a bad guy though. This is an account that is a Trump person, and I have no basis for saying this or believing this, but I think that she is fake. I don't think she's a real person, or at least she's a very highly paid person who supports Trump. She strangely reached 400,000 followers pretty quickly. She's very kind of omnipresent on Twitter. whether you're following her or not. So I have real suspicions about this account. But anyway, here's some spin from Melissa. The National Rifle Association was founded to help arm Black people in the South to protect themselves from Democrat terror. Now Dems have rewritten history about the NRA. No, people aren't rewriting history. They're saying the NRA today is absolutely terrible. So she goes on to say, I and millions of other law-abiding gun owners are who make up the NRA. Join to support the Second Amendment. She goes on to say, the left has tried to paint the National Rifle Association as an evil lobbying corporation, when in reality it is made up of everyday Americans like myself who want to preserve our Second Amendment, which is under assault. They want to first abolish the police and then disarm us. They want their roving gangs of Black Lives Matter and Antifa terrorists to have their way with us. If the last few months haven't shown you the importance of our Second Amendment, you are not paying attention. Join the National Rifle Association today to show your support for this right. I think she meant fight. Oh my goodness. So this is part of the fear mongering. This is part of the message. And this is, the way she's spinning this, the way she's saying, oh, the NRA is made up of everyday people. Yeah, sure. Everyday people have joined the NRA and are members of the NRA, but that's not the leaders. The leaders have stolen $64 million from you guys. How could you say, if you are a real person and a real person with a real brain, how could you say, join the NRA? It's all good. It's so good. It's the leftists who are bad. It's ridiculous. This is what people will believe. And I'm someone who I'm deeply interested in the right wing, the alt-right. I find it really important to understand the other side. I will never understand the cult-like admiration of Trump for a lot of these people. I do not understand the cult-like admiration for the NRA of these people. But I want to try to understand it. I want to see what they're saying. I think you can't truly make change if you're not understanding what you're up against. And we're up against a mass brainwashing of a heck of a lot of people in this country. I think I saw another super chat, so before I continue on, let's have a look. Love these super chats. I told you guys yesterday, they're so invigorating for me. I've been live streaming a lot this week, so super chats keep me going. They make me feel pumped up. And most importantly, they help us keep reporting. And Status Quo, we're not a big company. We're definitely a startup, so every penny helps. We appreciate all of you. Joining us helps as a member, statusquo.com/join. Swirly Swirl, $10 in the super chat. You're always so amazing about super chat, Swirly Swirl. Thank you. Swirly Swirl says, I'm starting to see the beginnings of a massive layoff wave. My mom's a nice company had meetings about it. For my mom's company, if too little people leave, then they will lay off with no packages. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. It's devastating. Obviously we have this pandemic and it's really serious and we need to take it really seriously. The reality is the money's not flowing like it was. A lot of businesses aren't producing like they were because they can't, or they're having to lay people off because they're not making as much money. But it impacts everyday people like you. And I'm just so sorry to hear that's happening. I hope it doesn't happen. If it does, I hope that you have other options. I'm really, really sorry, Swirly Swirl. Okay, so let's continue on with some ridiculousness. This is Mark Meckler, who is President, Convention of States Project, co-founder and former national coordinator of Tea Party Patriots, constitutional revolutionary. So I bet he has some great things to say. And here he is again, restating the NRA's spin of this being a direct attack on the Second Amendment. So he says it's a direct attack on the Second Amendment and the 5 million plus Americans who support the NRA. So you're going to hear that a lot. You're going to see that in Reddit forums. You're going to see that on Twitter as more people learn what has happened in this suit against the NRA. So it's some fascinating spin. It's not surprising spin. And a lot of people truly believe it. And here we have a clip from Fox News where Fox cuts away from the presser of the Attorney General, Letitia James. The NRA has not responded so far to these allegations, but the NRA has said in the past these types of investigations are political or aimed at going after the Second Amendment. So they made a really good prediction there. And this tweeter, Liz Power, says, "We're to preemptively throw out an NRA defense when they themselves haven't." Let's listen to this.
In little, if any, actual work.
That's New York Attorney General Letitia James kind of giving a laundry list of allegations against the National Rifle Association. And in essence, what she's saying there is the NRA is registered as a nonprofit in the state of New York and therefore must follow New York's laws, accusing high-ranking members of the NRA of actually misusing funds for travel and other luxuries, and then reducing the budget of the NRA by some $64 million. This investigation has been ongoing for a while. The NRA has not responded so far to these allegations, but the NRA has said in the past that these types of investigations are political and they are aimed at going after the Second Amendment. When the NRA gives a response, we will bring it to you on America's News Center.
In little.
There we have it. Fox News, of course, cutting away from the presser. No surprise. So this is another point that a lot of right-wingers are going to bring up. They're going to divert attention away from what has happened with the NRA, again misusing $64 million for the leader's personal trips and things like that, stealing people's money, stealing money from the very people who are defending them. But we're also going to hear a lot of chatter from these people about the Clinton Foundation. So they're going to distract even normie Republicans by pointing out the Clinton Foundation. There's nothing that Republicans hate more than Hillary Clinton. And the same goes for a lot of progressives. I am definitely not a Hillary Clinton fan. But in particular, these people, gun rights people, hate Obama. They hate Hillary. They hate the Clinton Foundation. And there are a lot of conspiracy theories surrounding the Clintons. So you'll see that this comes up. And then we'll talk about the fact that it really doesn't have a basis. So Ryan Fournier, who is on TPUSA, Turning Point Action, founder and co-chairman of Trump Students. So he says, "Hey, Letitia James, what about the Clinton Foundation?" So then you have a variety of people posting about that. Liz Wheeler, who I think she's a host on OAN, One America News Network, which is, if possible, way worse than Fox. Jack Posobiec is also associated with that. So she says, "Imagine going after the NRA but refusing to touch the Clinton Foundation." Except that's not true. It's not true that the Clinton Foundation hasn't been looked into. I'm not gonna lie, in 2016, I did a heck of a lot of digging on the Clinton Foundation. I was sure that there was something going on. I'm still not convinced that the money was all used appropriately and that the Clinton Foundation is completely above board, but I have to say, it was looked into and deemed okay. So what these people are passing around isn't even true. They're saying, "Oh, why hasn't the Clinton Foundation been looked into?" Well, the answer is it has. So they're spreading misinformation, and my prediction is that will really catch on. This is out of Vanity Fair. Surprise, surprise, the DOJ's Hillary Clinton investigation has been a bust. After more than 2 years, an inquiry into the Clinton Foundation and Clinton's tenure at state is nearly done, and there's reportedly absolutely nothing to show for it. So this came out in January of 2020. So back in 2017, buoyed by President Donald Trump's calls for investigations into crooked Hillary and the Dems, the Justice Department launched an inquiry into Hillary Clinton and Republicans' pet conspiracy theories about her and her career. Then Attorney General Jeff Sessions asked U.S. Attorney John Huber to look into concerns that the FBI hadn't fully pursued cases related to the Clinton Foundation, as well as Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State, including the baseless Uranium One conspiracy theory championed by conservatives. I'm not convinced that was entirely baseless, but anyway. Now Huber is finally almost finished with his much vaunted Clinton investigation, and unsurprisingly, there really isn't anything to show for it. The Washington Post reported Thursday that after continuing on for more than 2 years, Huber's investigation has effectively ended with no tangible results. I will pop this in the super chat so you can read the rest if you'd like. And last but certainly not least, I wanted to leave you guys with this, because this is really what it boils down to. I will never forget, I can't remember if I was in junior high or early high school for Columbine. I think junior high. I'll never forget going home and watching the news at my grandmother's house and seeing what had happened at Columbine. You know, I'm having chills right now. Seeing the student who was hanging out of the window trying to get help. There were students whose teacher had been shot, and so they wrote on a piece of paper, one person bleeding out or something like that in this room, and police didn't come and help them. I'll never forget later seeing the camera footage of the Columbine shooters. It really had an impact on me. And then Sandy Hook, I've already talked about that on this stream, the impact that had on me. So anyway, school shootings are devastating. They shouldn't happen. And part of the reason they do happen is because of the NRA. So let's look at some school shooting statistics to drive home how important it is to have gun control. Out of the Washington Post, more than 240,000 students have experienced gun violence at school since Columbine. So one dot represents 10 children exposed to gun violence. The chart starts with Columbine, and you can hover over each of the dots to see how many children were killed and where these incidents happened. So West Nickel Mines, Amish School, 20 children in school. Sandy Hook, 420 students in school at the time. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School, 2,930 kids in school at the time. So the victims, obviously we have to think in particular about the victims, those lives that were lost. But people, I think, tend to forget about all the students who've been exposed, who've seen their fellow students killed. If you read some of the accounts from students, particularly in the library of Columbine, seeing their friends murdered right in front of their eyes, that's something that stays with you for your entire life. There's an abundance of PTSD from these instances. This is something that will affect each of these students for their entire lives. So it's a really sobering look into school shootings and school violence, and that's just one segment of the issues with guns and the NRA. So I have to, Jordan's going to be live soon, so I'm going to end, but let me check in one last time on you guys in the super chat. We will certainly stay with this story as it continues. I really, really hope that it ends in the action we want. I hope the NRA is abolished. So I'm scrolling through the chat. Someone said something really nice. Where did it go? Someone said that it's good coverage and they're learning a lot. Thank you. Oh, it's Cryptician. Cryptician says, Jen is giving us super amazing coverage today and I'm learning so much. Love how she investigates the responses from conservatives and right-wingers so we see them for what they really are. Thank you, Cryptician. As I said, I think it's really important to look at what's going on with the other side. We'll never understand it, but it helps to know what we're fighting against, for sure. So thank you again, Cryptician. That means a lot. I know I saw a super chat from one of my other heroes. Scrolling to find it. I always say it. I feel so bad scrolling to find the super chat while you guys wait. Scrolling. Scroll. Here we go. Seth Peterson, $50 in the super chat. What a hero. Seth says the whole damn oligarchy needs to be torn down, NRA included. They don't give a shit about the people they say they represent. None of them do. They are all greedy, money-hungry psychopaths. Love supporting the coup. Yes, right on, Seth. You are absolutely correct. The NRA is just one terrible, horrible blister on our society. There are so many more. We do live in an oligarchy. Everything is corrupt at the top, everywhere we look. Thankfully, we have bright spots, like AOC, which I know some of you disagree with that assessment, but we have Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar. Now we're going to have Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman, and hopefully Ilhan Omar will be reelected. And we have Jen Perlman, and I'm really hoping, Ed Markey is definitely not a member of the squad, but he has done some good things. He's not like super progressive, but he's way better than Joe Kennedy III, who is giving a terrible legacy to my beloved Kennedys. So anyway, yes, they are all greedy, money-hungry psychopaths, and that's what our country runs on, is lobbying, is money, and money is power. And like the NRA said, there wouldn't be a Trump without the NRA. There wouldn't be so many things without this lobbying and without this corrupt money. That's why we need publicly funded elections or grassroots supported elections. We need to get PAC money out of our elections. We need to have severe, how do you put it? Lobbyists need to be severely handicapped or I don't know, taken away, whatever. But lobbyists are just such a mark on our society. And Seth, you ended with love supporting the coup. We really appreciate your support, all of you. It really, really helps us so much. We're deeply appreciative. All Jordan and I want to do is report on things that are important. We want to do more investigation. We want to hire more freelance journalists and eventually another full-time person. We want to expand and grow, but we're a startup and we're small, and it's really just me, Jordan, and Colin, and it's you guys too, though. You're a huge part of us. You are the reason we exist. So thank you, Seth, and so many others who support us. Love you guys so much. So if you'll remember, Henry, Lisa McCormick. Okay, send me another email. I'm sorry to say that, Henry. But we do get a lot of emails, and unfortunately, I seem to have missed yours. So send me an email again, info@statusquo.com, and I will look more into Lisa McCormick. Kelly Shahid, I don't know how he pronounces it. I can no longer support after his former campaign manager came out with an article, and that's all I'll say on that. Unfortunate, very unfortunate, because I want Nancy out. Anthony says Joe Kennedy making my Irish grandparents roll over in their graves. Yes, get that guy out. He's so bad. Dave says Bobby was the real deal. We'd be living in a much different country if he wasn't assassinated. Absolutely, totally agree. Bobby's policies, he kind of came into better policies before he was murdered, and it makes me sad to think of what the country could have been. Cryptician, $5 in the super chat. Thank you, super chat sticker. I love it. Wonderful. They do give me life, as someone said earlier today. Anthony says, love you, Jen. Love you and Sarah, too. Hope you're all well. Okay, I better get off before I ruin Jordan's chance to go live soon. And that, you guys have to tune in. Jordan's been away for, I think, since last Thursday. I think he didn't do the live stream on Friday. I think I did that one. So I know you guys missed Jordan. So show him some love when he goes live, probably around 4:30 or 5. I'm not sure. But get ready, because I know Jordan's going to be invigorated and ready to report, and I know it's going to be awesome. So as soon as you see that he's live, and join the text list if you aren't already, text COUP to 370-370, and I will let you know the minute that Jordan is live. So get pumped up, get excited, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. Tell your friends and family and cats and dogs to subscribe to our channel too. So we're about 3,000 people away from reaching 100,000 subscribers. So tell 3,000 of your closest friends to subscribe to Status Coup. Also, check out our Status Coup store and grab your Status Coup mask. Join as a member of Status Coup. I think shortly we'll be doing our members call. So join to get in on that. It's so much fun. We spill way too many beans. We talk about way too much, but it's so fun. We answer your questions and take your comments, and we really get to know each other. Just $5 a month, and it really helps us. Kelly, search for Jasper on Twitter to find that article. Okay, guys, I'm gonna leave. I've been taking questions at the end, but I don't have time today. So next time I go live, I'll do my question thing because you guys seem to like that. So subscribe, share, join with Jordan when he goes live. Join as a member, statuscoup.com/join. Grab your mask or your sweatshirt or your t-shirt or your beach towel or your wall tapestry or your phone case. And I love you all. You're all wonderful. Thanks for keeping the coup going. And until next time, bye-bye. Tune in for Jordan later.